सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. Can someone form the link so we can go ahead? Yes, please. Anything you can recollect. Yes, please. Anybody?
Arjun has asked on whom should he meditate. So
Yes.
Krishna was telling all different rupas that he
Vibhutis.
had. Yeah, but he was saying only the sarvashreshth of like the
Yes.
things. For example, the sun, the moon, the sea. Yeah.
Yeah, yani, Jojo, some more, if you can example, something which was
Marichi,
famous, prominent, or which you connected with.
Marichi, I think.
Okay, Marichi.
And in Pandavas, he's Arjuna. And there was something more, I don't remember.
All right. He also talked about Mrityu, isn't it?
Yes, he's the Death
Yeah.
Asura.
Yama. He is Yama.
He's Yam. Yes, he's Yam. And then we had talked about in trees, he's people. Yeah,
Yes, yes, he's
Ashwat tree.
Varuna. Absolutely. Varuna, Ashwatha. Binaji wants to add something, is it? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of them. He's a Chandra among the celestial bodies, the Samaveda, Indra, that is
Yeah.
the Adipati, and he's the Man among all the senses,
Yes.
and Chetna among the Bhutas, Shankara in the Rudra form, and Kubera in the wealth, and the Vasus, the god of fire,
Ji.
Meru among the peak, and oceanic sea among water bodies, Brahaspati, Skanda, commanding battle lord, and he's Brigu, and Japa, that is the silent chant, repetition, Om among uh, the birds, and Ashwatha tree, and Narada among the divine sages, Airavat, lord of elephants, Kapila among the perfected saints, Vajra among the weapons, and Kamadhenu the cow, Gandarpa the cupid, Vasuki the single headed serpent, Anant Nag and Varuna the ocean and water bodies, Aryaman father of the departed ancestors, and Yama the death god.
Ji, absolutely, Binaji. So this is something, what we can say, the best, the finest, the most supreme. We can probably feel understand this simple aspect. Whatever is finest, whatever is best, whatever is supreme, that we can recognize. We can recognize it to be divine and use it as a madhyam for us to connect with the supreme divinity. So far we got various examples. Even Mrityu is considered to be very difficult to accept in life. But somebody who accepts it, that person has come to terms with the greatest satya of existence. Just as life is a truth, death also is a truth, and it is also a part and parcel of life. This has to be understood. That is why so many spiritual margas begin with this need or ground for recognizing. They call this a Martya Loka, Mrityu Loka. But if you see, the first step in Buddhism also is a what? The Sharira will fall, the Sharira will depart. Or how did the Gita begin also? This like Krishna, we have yet to come to that 13th adhyay, but in the very second adhyay, Krishna says, he says that this body is going to perish. The Sharira is going to perish, but there is something which will not recognize that. So that is where Arjuna comes out of his grief, comes out of his sorrow. One, what we can say, recently, Aparna ji, one psychologist, and she is dealing with psychotherapy of some people. She said she wants to explore Gita's principles for bereavement. Because when it is a loss, especially a loss of a loved one, it becomes very difficult to come to terms with it. And Gita's principles allow us to understand it. I shared the example of Kathopanishad study. Everybody found in the Kathopanishad no difference between Yama and our Sri Krishna. So this oneness is something Krishna is saying, probably recognize that. You want to meditate upon it? All right, that is also one more. Let us continue. Krishna says, Prallahadaschasmi daityanam kalaha kalayatamaham mruganam cha mrugendroham vainate yascha pakshinam. So among the Daityas, and Daityas also there is divinity, isn't it? If you can recognize it. And he says, look at Prahlada. He is the example. Sri Aurobindo also talked about that only. He talked about recognizing the strength of the Asura. Daityas also, what happens? It creates a negation, no, in the head. This is Asura. This is like this, they are gone, they are waste. No, it is not like that. Instead, recognize the strength. The brute strength of the Asura was not present in the Devas, isn't it? That strength, which was what we can say raw, physical, strong, that strength. Imagine if the Devas also learn to experience, learn that to, get that. That is what Sri Aurobindo in his hymn to Durga talks about. Asurasya udyamam shakti dehi. So, and if you want to look at the Daityas, look at the example of Prahlada. So, Prahlada's story, you will understand how to be a Daitya. His father will tell you how not to be one. That is the interesting story there. Then, among measurements, I am time that never stops, day or night. Kala. Can anybody stop Kala? Kala Chakra. Can anybody stop it? No. We say Kalaya Tasmai Namaha. The moment that we have today, the moment that we have now, is not going to come again. Yes, Umaji is saying something? Yes, ma'am. Is it? No. All right. Then I'll just mute. Okay. So this Kala Chakra or Kala cannot be stopped because it is moving. It has its own gati. What you say, what you feel today, will it be true or not? Who is going to tell the fact? Ultimately, it is truth only, isn't it? Truth will tell what feelings you have. Are they superficial? Or are they really having a base in Satya? Again, it is truth. Truth will tell you. And truth is something which is not going to stop day or night. That is why it is said, use your moments wisely. Use your moments consciously. Because Kala that we have today is not going to come. Amrita Kala is the Kala when we are alive, isn't it? After we are gone, that is going to be we are not going to be in that existence. So this is important. Krishna says, I am Kala, neither day nor night. Can you say I am very punctual? So I got late only by 5 minutes. So the train should have stopped for me. No, गाड़ी छूट गई. अब क्या करेंगे? पछताना ही पड़ेगा. You have to experience that. It is something like that. Moments also come in life. The divine also comes. Sometimes divine comes knocking at our doors. They call it hour of the God. God is coming, helping you in. Sometimes we are very lucky. Those moments come multiple times, but we are very unlucky that we don't recognize them. And then afterwards, when we recognize, then we only repent because that time has gone. So recognize, become conscious. A master of Kala is the master who has done great sadhana, whose sadhana is going to go ahead only. So this is one more aspect to meditate upon. Kala. Arjuna recognized the difficulty of time very early in life. So he said, I don't want to sleep at all. He became Gudakesha, the one who had even conquered sleep. He wanted to always do sadhana, and he achieved it. Well, in spite of that, Arjuna is facing difficulties. Despite all his great tapasya, I think we are very, very lucky in a way, isn't it? We are not experiencing what Arjuna did experience. So probably because he had to become the example, he had to suffer a lot more than everybody. But let's follow, let's follow. It's best to hold Arjuna now as the idol for us. Because then Krishna will come to our aid also when we become like Arjuna. Among forest beasts, I am the lion king of kings. I am Garuda, the king eagle amongst the bird of wings. So Krishna says, I am in the jungle, I am the Raja, I am the king of the jungle, that is the lion. And among the birds, I am the Garuda, the Vahana of our Vishnu. I am Garuda, he says. Pavanaha Pavatamasmi Ramaha Shastra Dhrutamaham Jhashana Makaraschasmi Srotasamasmi Janavi. Krishna says, I am wind, purifying and swift moving. Amongst master warriors, I am Rama, the valiant and daring. I am the alligator amongst the aquatic creatures. I am Ganga amongst the pristine rivers. So he says, I am wind, he says. The fastest moving is wind only, isn't it? We cannot contain the wind and it travels. So this wind or Vayu, it is traveling across the world. It is keeping us alive. Inside of us also, isn't it? The movement of Vayu is there or not? If there is an imbalance in that, what do you say? Vata dosha. Because I'm having a lot of joint pain, then the Vaidya will say, no, deranged Vayu. We have to work on it. Let us resolve this Vata dosha and bring a good balance inside. Something like that. So Vayu is also there. Recognize, connect with the wind. This is actually what we call connecting with the elements also you can learn. That is itself a sadhana. It is itself a tapasya. Just like even using elements for treatment is also a therapy. I think everybody must be aware of it, isn't it? Using the Pancha Mahabhutas for therapy. Anybody is aware of it?
Yes, like you have water bath, you have fire bath, you have probably wind, you go and stand in the wind, you feel that purification that happens. You can actually feel very refreshed and
Yes. And my Guruji actually has made medicines from soil also. Mrittika.
right, mud bath also.
Yes,
Correct.
Harbour Mineral, there's one product with 12 herbs and different clays. In naturopathy, they use these elements only. So something like that, you become quiet and you can connect each of these elements. You become conscious. That is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. See here, means Krishna is giving us options, too many options. But all of these options also can be utilized if we are conscious. Then you will not find absence of Krishna anywhere. Everywhere you will experience his presence. Among the aquatic creatures, I am alligator, Makara. Where is Makara? He's here also, there also. In the water also, he can move around. In the land also. It's really a special amphibious existence, isn't it? The great lion, you put the lion in water, what happens? No difference between the lion and a cat or any other creature. Terrestrial, there he is, that is his kshetra. But look at the Makar. Makar can move on both kshetras. So that is a great lesson in Makara will allow you to learn. Even the raising of the children. It is said, anybody knows about how the alligator raises the children? It's just by what we call drishti, nothing else. From far also, it doesn't like if you human beings have to be continuously taken care of, nothing like that. So each of these have what we can say something to look at, something to connect with, something to meditate about. So Krishna says, see, I am the alligator and I am Ganga among the pristine rivers. Anybody has had the good fortune to do Ganga Snan? Gone, visited the Ganga? Anybody, if you can share? I've written poems, but I've not visited. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Haridwar. I had visited Haridwar.
You visited Haridwar, Harikadwar, isn't it? So very special place, definitely. What was your experience, Chief?
I was, I think, 16 years old or something. So I don't
Okay,
know. It was
you're not able to
very,
recollect.
yeah, the river was very swift.
Swift,
Yeah.
powerful, and
Mm.
and the water,
It was gushing.
Okay, the speed of well, it was
It-
gushing.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Anybody else would like to share anything about it?
Um,
Uh,
I've
Yeah,
I've been quite a few times. Mainly, I've gone for rafting in Rishikesh and Haridwar, that area. Last year also, I went with my children.
ji,
The
ji.
water is very refreshing, but
Ha,
the most refreshing bath I ever had in the Ganges was during Ardha Kumbha in 2019 at
okay,
Prayagraj. That was the most beautiful experience I've had.
all right, Rajrupa ji. Yes, Anuradha ji wants to add something. Yes, please. Yes, ji, please feel free to unmute.
I was quite small when I had, so same as in Haridwar. The water was very chilly, and as usual, the wind, you feel as if you're gonna be swept off.
Ha,
So quite energy wise, it is quite strong,
it's quite strong, and the water is very beautiful and pure, isn't
very
it?
beautiful. Yes, yes,
I
and
have
very
not.
chilly also. Chilly, very
Yeah.
chilly.
Yes, yes. And we had placed it in a while actually. Ganga's water. Lamniji's lab, we have some tests going on, and somebody came, and I was very fortunate. Though I could not go there, I was fortunate that some nice people, whenever they went, they would bring to me. And once I just remember just touching the water to the eye was feeling such so beautiful. It felt so wonderful. And then we saw that inside of that transparent vial, the water remained so good. Means there are other types of waters from the bore also, from the water from another place which is supposedly pure, all of it. But the consistency of this water remained the same for years to come. One participant had shared that her father's last wish was to have Ganga Jal on his eyes, touched for him in his last moment. And she says she was very happy that she could do that. And the entire bhajan, kirtan, everything was going on. And the daughter was with the father only at that entire moment. It was such a sacred one. It was such a special moment. That is why they say Ma Ganga, no? She's a mother. And that experience has to be got. That experience has to be realized. And then when you realize it, then your cleansing of sins take place, isn't it? Smarana will bring cleansing of the sins. It's not just like some factory or it is like, yeah, chalo, let's use the sanitizer. So I'll do all the papa and then I'll go and cleanse the papa. Careful, mother will get angry. She will give a punishment also. We do not know that. There was once a can say flood of Ganga, which created a lot of havoc also in Bharat some time back. But this aspect, becoming conscious of that touch, then you just touch, of course it will purify. Because that is it is the Jajole. Where is the Ugam? Mother Ganga's Ugam is from where? Gangotri, and that comes from the Shiva himself. So this is something which you have to understand. Like they say, Yaha Pashyati, Sa Pashyati. So that experience. So Krishna says, yes, meditate upon the Ganga. Some people are very lucky to live very much in the vicinity. But then unfortunately it is like they say, no, close to the temple and yet away from God. That situation also happens sometimes. Not realizing how they can use that opportunity to connect with that conscious water body where the goddess is there. So like that. Then Krishna goes on, he says, Sarganam Madirantascha Madhyam Chaiva Hamarjuna Adhyatma Vidyanam Vadaha Prabhadatamaham. And Krishna says, I am the beginning, I am the middle, I am the end of all creations. You have to become conscious, then you will realize it. The Adi, the Madhya, and the Anta. It's actually, if you recognize in yourself also, you see my beginning, it was the push I got at these moments. He was giving it in the middle. I am going through right now the journey also. There I am also conscious of these many moments where I'm being connected by the divine, where the divine is leading me. It's enough. It's enough. You don't have to worry. Even at one moment you realize. So become that conscious, Krishna is telling Arjuna. Arjuna, he says, I am the logic of those involved in debate and discussion. So a tarka that is used in the debate also, that also is I, is what Krishna is saying. Sometimes some debates make a big difference. They make a big difference in altering the course of history also. Words are uttered from one place, another person counters it, sometimes on the national level, not just external affairs ministers talking. Sometimes one prime minister speaks one word and that word has a ripple effect elsewhere. People wonder how is it. And it is not just recent times, it has been there from the beginning. The wall must go, that was the dialogue, and then the wall went. It was another turning point elsewhere. Something like that. So and sometimes you see how is it that a winning situation is for somebody who is very arrogant, he's in a winning situation, doesn't look like he's going to lose anyway, and suddenly the tables turn. How? Because somebody gets a divine tarka and that tarka turns everything. It turns the tables completely. Anybody has experienced such, like how debates can be suddenly turned around by logic? Yes, anybody? Anywhere in your life? Debate does not have to be a typical group discussion or debate that is happening on TV. Most of the TV debates, we don't see divinity in it. Unfortunately, we have to try to see it, but it is very difficult. Everybody is only shouting over each other. But anywhere, anytime, in any time you have seen somewhere in a business meeting or a family meeting or some kind of somewhere, suddenly one idea from nowhere has come and is suddenly brought about harmony. Anybody? Any example? Anything you can think of? Or at least, do you recognize the potential of this tarka in altering? Means why I'm asking is if you recognize the potential, then you will seek, isn't it? You will seek the divine's guidance. Give me that knowledge, give me the help, and you will receive it. And because that, when it comes, when the link is found, nothing can stop you. So connect with the divine. You have to sometimes you have to debate also, isn't it? Even if we are not officially debating, we are not external affairs ministers of countries that we have to go and debate about certain policies. But our own life, we have to make it. We have to sometimes, we have to make some cede to some demands. Some demands we cannot cede. We have to stand by them. That time, what should we do? Should we get frustrated and let our emotions speak? No, you'll fall in greater trouble. So there, Smaran of Krishna. Remember Krishna, and you will get that direction. So that is one thing. And then Krishna says, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Adhyatma Vidya is said to be the highest Vidya. It is said knowledge of the Adhyatma, the spiritual sciences, is higher than all philosophies, arts, and sciences. This shloka, this creates a wonderful divide between the scientist and the spiritualist. Like, how dare you say my science is inferior? And the spiritualist also, who is trapped in spiritualism. Wherever ism comes, it becomes a problem. So he says, no, you people are all material fools. You don't know. Divine is like this. Your science is so incompetent. Your science is never going to touch even the tip of Adhyatma. So again, Sri Aurobindo says two negations. Both are wrong. So, but how do we come to terms with Adhyatma Vidya being higher than all the other Vidyas? It's like it reminds me of my fight in college. I was not exactly in the fight, but it was my department versus another department of first years, electronics and mechanical. Who is the boss? They are Royal Mech or the Electronic Kings. That was the aspect, and they were ready to come to blows for it, saying that we are better. It was very silly, very childish. But what do you expect from folks who have just come out of school and suddenly are feeling all free in a government college? So that is what was going on. Suddenly, a senior came and told us mechatronics. It went over the head of both the warring factions. He's brought a fusion of both. This is something which was beyond our understanding. But that was a truth. There's no fight there. So the fusion happens. So Adhyatma Vidya is said to be that higher knowledge that is going to bring about oneness. Anybody, if you can connect with this, can you? How is it? Is there a role? People say Adhyatma Vidya is for after retirement. Don't bring Adhyatma into politics. Don't bring Adhyatma into business. Don't bring Adhyatma into medical treatment. Don't bring Adhyatma into XYZ. Management, no Adhyatma there. Many people say that. Anybody? What do you think? And we'll quickly go on then. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm saying like we have to start being very, very aware and start living consciously each and every moment. That is also अध्यात्म in daily life.
Yeah.
अगर अध्यात्म जुड़ जाएगा तो फिर वो you'll be very, very careful about whatever you say and you think and you do.
You'll become conscious, isn't it? The connection
Exactly.
formed everywhere.
Right, right.
And that is what Adhyatma Vidya means, the highest knowledge. In
Yeah.
front of this higher knowledge, in front of that knowledge, other knowledges look inferior. But that doesn't mean we are now in Adhyatma position to look down upon any other
No, we don't
sign.
need to be arrogant and it has
Yes,
proper जो
yes,
wisdom है समझ तो वही है ना, we have to be all inclusive. We
yes,
cannot exclude anything.
yes, yes, yes. And
A proper
because,
amalgamation has to be there.
yes, yes, because recognizing that there is a higher knowledge and working according to, like if you see, there is a Vastavik Satya and there's a Vyavaharik Satya. Vastavik Satya is the ultimate truth. Ultimate truth is I am Brahman. But Vyavaharik Satya is I have to wear helmet. This Brahman may get into an accident if he is not careful. So the Brahman has to travel. It is something like that. The rules of science, all of them have a place. But there is also a higher faculty which is governing all these rules. If you connect with the higher faculty without rejecting the other branches, you will be able to freely wade through all of these. And just like how I talked about mechatronics, a branch which is fusing all of it, you will see that the other lines also come together. Many times people feel different fields. Art is different. Art is different from science. Science is different from we can say like I remember engineering and medical. These are absolutely not connected, is what many people would say when we were in college. This is the difference. We don't study about the human body at all. I have done full study of the human body. But then when my friend became biomedical engineer, that was an interesting aspect. And example, one is Professor Arun Tiwari, the Shishya of Dr. Abdul Kalam. We all know Dr. Kalam was a spiritual person, isn't it? That we 100% know, though we do not know the depth of his spirituality. Maybe we'll read his book Transcendence or something else, what he has written about his life experiences and Adhyatmic experiences. We might be able to understand, but we know him as a great Karma Yogi, but we know he has a spiritual background. How? Because he was connected with everybody. Nobody had an objection. Everybody loved him, everybody adored him, everybody got inspiration from him. Nobody said he's belonging to this particular religion. Nobody said he's fanatic like this or he's like that. Nobody said he is scientist, so he's against spirituality. Nothing. He lived by some universal higher principles. And how he lived, he made others people around him also live like that. So his Shishyas also, he had a wonderful bunch of Shishyas who are continuing to do great work. One of them is Professor Arun Tiwari ji. I have been very lucky to connect with him because Kalam sir liked a poem, and after I wanted to give Rhythm of Krishna to Kalam sir, but by then he had left this. He had gone into another abode. So I felt bad. Yeah, I could never give him this book. So let me find out who is the next closest. Somebody as Prati means something like a symbolic. It has gone to Kalam sir. So I found this person. And this professor was just as humble as Kalam sir. He was also interestingly a mechanical engineer, and we somehow connected over poetry, and then I learned a lot from him. I still continue to learn from him. So what he shared was very interesting. From a village in UP, he joined Kalam sir from a library. He saw Kalam sir, saw him study something and immediately picked him up, and that's how his journey started. So what happened is, so let us, without going into his story completely, I just wanted to tell you is he launched a missile for the Agni missile system. They developed a particular alloy which was considered remarkable considering India's uh, handicap in manufacturing at that time. So that time it was impossible. Now, after success in a field, His guru. He considered Kalam sir his guru. We say that, isn't it? Dhyana Moolam Guru, Dhyana Moolam Guru Murtim, Puja Moolam Gurur Padam, Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Guru Krupa. So Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam. And what does his guru say? Now use this technology into medical field because lot of cost is there. High, every people are spending so much. In India, we need some cost-effective practical application. Now imagine this, somebody who is a mechanical engineer, core engineering person who has successfully launched some missile system, he has worked on it. Somebody is telling use that missile technology to develop a medical civilian spin-off. Logically, what will you say? What's wrong? How is it possible? But you see, the Shraddha is there, no? And that Adhyatma Vidya starts functioning through Shraddha only. Shraddha in the Guru. Guru has told this to me. So there is some higher truth behind it. I don't understand how it's going to happen. Let me. And he said, yes. So I went. He said, I went to Europe. I had never traveled to foreign countries. I started traveling to foreign countries. I met medical professionals. I said, but sir, still medical field and engineering. Did you study medicine again from scratch? He said, no, we are engineers. No, we can do jugaad. We will be able to somehow find out. Whatever was required for me, practically, I understood that much. And you won't believe they developed what was the first coronary arteries, the stent, coronary stent of Bharat with a very famous and reputed, what we can say, cardiologist, Dr. Soma Raju. And he named it also after, he didn't put it his own name. He named it after his guru. They call it Kalam Raju stent. And that stent saved so many lives, not just in India. It started a Pan-African network connection between India and Africa. So many lives. We say Loka Sangraha happened, no? Why did Loka Sangraha happen? Yes, Dr. Anuradha ji has written rightly. Yes, from Hyderabad, Somaraju. Same person, absolutely. A very famous and eminent cardiologist. So Adhyatma Vidya starts functioning, then all fall in place. That is why it is said to be higher Vidya. People come. uh, People come and Anuradha ji wants to say something? Yeah, please go on.
Yes. My father-in-law, when in 2001, he had a very complicated heart
Hmm.
issue, and he was in US. So that time he had to come back to India. So Somraju is somehow connected through my mother-in-law's brother, and they referred to Somraju. So that time all the doctors said they can't touch my father-in-law because it's a very complicated case. So because his heartbeat was only like 20 beats or something, very
Okay.
minimal. So then Dr. Somraju said, we will first give him tablets to get us pumping to how much is required for the operation. And then it was done. So they did first time open heart beating surgery on him.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
it was very complicated case. So the person who did his surgery is Dr. Gopal,
Okay.
and he
Okay.
said, see, this is do or die situation. You have to take a call whether you want to go with it or not. My husband was like, no, we can't take chances. But my father-in-law, he said, no, I can't live in this confusion. Let's go ahead with it. जो होना होगा वो देखा जाएगा.
Hmm.
And with his mind power or wind power, he was
Okay.
there for the. He passed away in 22, but he was
Ah,
there for
for many
22
years.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
from
So,
2002 to 22.
Ji,
Yes.
wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Anuradha ji.
Yeah.
Yes. So this aspect is something. Adhyatma Vidya is present where? Everywhere, in every kshetra. Our limitation sometimes makes us divide. That's why interdisciplinary research takes place between people who are not connected in the fields also. Sometimes you see somebody who is from one particular field which is not connected to the other field, you'll see that person is a co-author. You say, what's the logic behind it? The logic is there in the paper. You study the paper, you will see how the sutra is who? Krishna is a sutra, isn't it? He'll connect everything. So Adhyatma Vidya is higher. That does not mean all sciences are inferior, but recognize that there is a higher knowledge, higher science, which probably brings oneness everywhere. Yoga is oneness. Let us continue. Aksharanam makarosmi dvandvah समासिकस्य च अहमेवाक्षयः कालो धाता हम vishvato mukha. Amongst the letters, in the all-encompassing letter I am found. Amongst words, I am the dual compound. I am the imperishable time that ceases not to persist, the master of all existences. In all their faces, I exist. I am in the letter A. A is what? The beginning, isn't it? The Akshara begins with A. So it says, I am from the beginning. Om also, Om Nad, the Nad of Om begins with A only, isn't it? A, U, Ma. So I am in that. In Tamil also, Tirukkural, it talks about Agaram. What is Agaram? Agaram is the beginning. Agaram is also called Akara. Everything, it begins with that. So all languages start with that sound, in at least in Bharat also we understand that. Well, even outside of Bharat. So that I'm the beginning, I'm in that sound. Oh, I am also the dual compound in Sanskrit grammar. Dandva, Samasikasya cha, this samasa, this what happens, the fusion, that is there. I am that. I am the imperishable kala, time. Time is what? Not going to stop for anybody, anytime. And I am, in all living beings, I am that existence. Meaning Krishna is present in all living beings. Anytime that Krishna can get activated and Krishna can start functioning to establish his wish, his will. Who can do that? Who is receptive? That is why we have to become receptive and become conscious. Because if you become conscious, you will experience Krishna's oneness. Otherwise, you will not. Mrityuhu sarvaharashchaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam कीर्तिः श्रीर्वाक्च नारीणां स्मृतिर्मेधा धृतिक्षमा. Is the screen visible? For me, the screen is frozen for some time. You're able to see everybody? All right. If at all there is some distortion, please let me know.
It is hazy.
Screen is hazy. But is the audio all right, Chief? Audio is
It's
all right.
not frozen, but hazy. Not that clear.
All right, all right. But the audio is not stopping, no? All right. So let us invoke Krishna in the network and continue. Yeah. Hari Om. So Krishna says, I am for the living, the all ensnaring death. So I am Mrityu for those who are alive. And for the beings to come, I am also birth. So I am Mrityu also, I am birth also. We don't realize the entire Janma Mrityu cycle. That's why we get disturbed. We know only one life, and we say that life is gone means what has happened. But no, we don't realize that this is a cycle. We too have had many births. And the birth is going to come again for those who have departed. This is the chain of samsara. Glory, speech, intellect, and memory. The quality is divine. And forgiveness are all my best virtues. Feminine. Krishna is saying glory, speech, intellect, memory, forgiveness. These are all my feminine qualities or qualities of the Devi or qualities of the Prakriti. All these words, if you see, they're all in Sanskrit, they're feminine gender only. Kirti, Shrirvak, Narinam, Smrutir Medha, Smruti, Medha, Dhruti, Shama. All of these are qualities which can allow you to recognize the divine. Krishna goes on, Bruhat Sama Tatha Samnam, Gayatri Chandasamaham, Masanam Margashirshoham, Rutunam Kusumakaraha. I am the Bruhat Sama of the Samaveda mantras. Among the Vedas, he said, I am Rigveda. And if you're looking in Samaveda, look at me. Well, look at the Bruhat Sama mantra. I am that. I am Gayatri among the established metrical rhymes. Anybody is aware of what is this Gayatri? in Sanskrit? Anybody? Can you share something about it? Yes, Hari Om.
Sir, we know one of the Gayatri mantras, Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. That's it.
Why do we call it Sindhuji Gayatri mantra?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, but you said one of the mantras, isn't it? Does that mean there are many more Gayatri mantras?
Yes, sir. I have heard of it. So many are there.
Okay. Tat Purushaya Vidmahe Mahadevaya Dhimahi Tanno Rudra Prachodayat becomes a Shiva Gayatri. Tat Purushaya Vidmahe. We can only create some more Gayatri mantras also because the rhythm, that is Gayatri. And mantra of Krishna Gayatri. Tatpurushaya vidmahe Vasudevaya dhimahi Tanno Krishna prachodayat, or any other mantra, because that is a rhythm. That is and in the rhythm that is there, rhythm is also everywhere. There's a rhythm, isn't it? There's a rhythm in the movement of the, what we can say, seasons. There's a rhythm in the moon. There's a rhythm in our life. There's a rhythm everywhere in existence. So like that, in this rhythm of the sounds also, there are different chandas in Sanskrit. Among those chandas, it is said to be Gayatri Chanda, which is considered the exalted chanda. Some examples of the other chandas are Trishtup, Anushtup, like that various chandas are there. So in that, we can say Gayatri Chanda is said to be what Krishna is saying, highest. Amongst the months, I am Mrigashirsha, the month first, and among the seasons, I am spring's delicate burst. So among the seasons, I am the spring season. What's so special about spring? There's a beauty, there's a manifestation of flowers, and everywhere we see blossoming. Nature is suddenly alive. It's a very special season. It's called a season of love. Why is that? Because that is where everything blossoms. If you want to see me in the seasons, I am that season, is what Krishna is saying. Next comes a very interesting part. Let us look at it. Dyutam chalayatam asmi. Tejas tejasvinamaham. Jayosmi vyavasayosmi. Satmam satmavatamaham. So you see, it begins with Dyuta and ends with Sattva. Both look like contrasting, isn't it? Opposite. Dyuta is what? Gambling. One is gambling. And what is Sattva? Sattva is what we call Sattvic nature, or what is the purity, where is something which is fine. So these look opposite, isn't it? And yet this shloka is very special because Krishna is talking about recognizing the divinity even in the opposites. Dyutam chalayatam asmi. He says, I am the cunning in the gambler's deception. And in the good-natured, I am purity's inception. I am the glory of the glorious and the victory of the victors. I am the enterprise of the entrepreneurs. So what is Krishna saying here? Is he recommending everybody to engage in gambling? Start new Mahabharatas, go on exiles like all the Pandavas did? What could be the logic here? Anybody? Dyutam chalayatam asmi. Anybody? We don't go that route, so how can we think about gambling only is the question. But no, Krishna has brought it up, no, into a very pious scripture called Gita. That too in the middle of a battlefield. I mean, he had so many things to talk about. He could have talked about architecture, he could have talked about anything else. But he's talked about gambling and he says, Dyutam chalayatam asmi. And chalayatam is the cunning. He's talked about the cunningness, the cheating. Why has he brought that? Anybody?
Sir, maybe because without that cunning nature, you can't win the gambling. That's why
Yeah.
he is saying.
So that is why, is it a recommendation to engage in gambling, develop cunning nature, trick,
No,
trick and cheat people?
no,
What could
sir.
what could be the reason then? In the Bhagavad Gita, in Vibhuti Darshana, Krishna is talking about Dyuta and Chala.
Uh,
Yes, Manisha ji wants to add something. Yes, please.
Shathe Shatyam Samachayat.
Ah, Shathe Shatyam Samachari, or how Lokmanya Tilak had talked about Shatham Prati Shatyam. What has happened? A lot of people were like, Bhagwan will help, Ishvara will help. When the Akrantas have come, invaders are invading, people, strong men ran into temples. They ran into temples saying God should protect them. God has given them two strong arms. He has given them buddhi, use the strength to fight and defend, do God's work. But what happened? They were too attached. No, no, I'm too good. I can't fight. I can't shout. I can't raise my voice. That is wrong. So that becomes a trap, isn't it? That is what Krishna is talking about. You have to understand. I remember going to my HOD and telling, Sir, our one particular clerk is there. He is asking for money for a letterhead. I wanted a letter of recommendation. So for the letterhead also, he was charging money for empty letterheads. So when I went to our HOD and I told him, because I wanted to get letter of recommendation from him, I was assuming that will help me go abroad for my higher studies. But when I told him about that, I expected a different reaction. But you know what he said? Oh, he's also corrupt. Good, you told me. I will keep distance. I was like, hey, Bhagwan, he's afraid. He's a HOD and he's afraid of even asking the clerk to not do that. Why? Because that aspect has not developed only. That will allow this to go in wrong direction, isn't it? Many times we, because of our good nature, you have heard of this word, too good to be true. Don't be too good to be true. Somebody say that. Meaning now people are cunning around you and they are cheating you and you are getting fooled because no, no, I am not like them. If your Shakuni is there, Shakuni should learn Krishna is also sitting on the other side of the table. Shakuni got the experience, isn't it? Who was the bigger gambler? If anybody knows the tale of Mahabharata, very nicely, Shakuni thought he is making Krishna lose and he is going to declare to the world that I made Krishna lose. And Krishna was allowing certain losses to take place also because his aim was something else. Another Yojana was going on and he wanted Shakuni to be away from Duryodhana. He wanted that to happen. So what did he do is he kept him trapped. But when he understood that time, Shakuni also understood he has lost against the master because that is what is there. Dyutam chalayatam asmi, meaning the followers of the divine, they cannot be gullible. They cannot be fooled by anybody because they're connected with that divine consciousness. So that is something which we must understand. We cannot become what we can say sitting ducks or punching bags for others. Why? Because we have a responsibility. We are representatives of the divine. Then we should remember, remember Krishna. Remember how Krishna tricked Shakuni also. So nobody is so smart that who can outwit the divine. So let us continue. He goes on. Then he says, I am also the purity. I am also in the good natured purity is inception. So from Chala, he's jumping to purity. Purity is also something which is a special quality. Some people, they have very pure hearts. And the people say, oh, people will stab you on the back. Don't have this. Have little bit contamination inside of it. It's not required. Remain pure on the inside. Your heart need not anytime get corrupt at all. But it must have the viveka. Viveka should be there, Jagrut. But understand that is also important. What Krishna says, I'm the glory of the glorious. Sometimes people do great deeds and people sing glories on their great deeds. Well, those great deeds also have happened by my grace, is what Krishna is saying. I'm also the victory of the victors. So the Jaya also takes place by my grace, Krishna says. I'm also the enterprise of the entrepreneurs. You see, sometimes entrepreneurs have to do so many activities, so many things, that even running an enterprise is itself a task of miracle, people say. because you need that spirit. No, not everybody can take that risk to run something, to stand up, to create something, manifest out of nowhere. So that also, that spirit, that is a divine spirit which is driving, which we should understand. If we understand it, we are able to tap, we are able to rise. Otherwise, yaha pashyati saha pashyati, isn't it? Those who see will experience. Those who don't, they'll continue their ordinary life only. You'll see nothing divine, nothing special in my life. What's going on? Nothing much. Nothing much only goes on when you are not conscious. Otherwise, even if you're lying on the bed and not doing anything, so much happens. I just talked about Professor Tiwari sir. Last many years, because he himself developed a heart condition, he could not leave his room. One would say irony, what an irony. No, without leaving the room, he has released so many books, he's done so many things, so many meetings, so much work. It is going on. So before lockdown concept came, he was already on lockdown. But that time onwards also he was doing his works. So this aspect of becoming conscious, the enterprising spirit, Chaitanya, that has to come inside of us, that comes with the connection of the divine. Connect with the divine, experience the Chaitanya, or look at Chaitanya and connect with the divine. See that this Chaitanya is from the divine only. Vrishninam Vasudevosmi, Pandavanam Dhananjayah, Muninam Apyaham Vyasah, Kavinam Mushana Kavihi. Krishna says, I am Krishna among the Vrishnis. So the descendants of Vrishni, I am Krishna. Recognize me to be Krishna, is what he says. And among Pandavas, he says, I am Arjuna. What a beautiful feeling Arjuna should have got, no, while listening to this. If you want to see me, look in Pandavas, I am the best of the Pandavas. I am Arjuna, is what he's saying. I am Vyasa amongst the great sages. Vyasa was also considered an avatar of Krishna only, isn't it? What was the reason, anybody? What did Vyasa do? What was he so famous for?
The Vedas he
Ma-
composed.
He
Yeah.
compiled the Vedas. Yes, Vasundhara wants to add something? Yes, please.
No, same thing. Vedas was
Same.
compiled.
Yes, there was it was a very mammoth task. It was a huge task. The knowledge of Vedas was disappearing. The smriti of people was reducing. Newer languages were coming. People were not feeling it was now. How will everybody remember? There were other famines, so many other things. And one young man, one young rishi, he got the Ashirvad of his guru and he said, I want to do this task. Of what? I'll compile the Vedas so that it remains. You see, that compilation which was done so many thousands and thousands of years ago, it has still survived. All the various families of the rishis and their suktas, they have been beautifully frozen in time. That is what even Mahabharata, it is attributed to Vyasa only, isn't it? Vyasa Virachita Ganesha Likita Mahabharate Punya Katha. This Mahabharata's compilation also. It is Vyasa in a state of consciousness. He went and it is said Ganesha came. Ganesha came to scribe. He said, you divine come, become my scribe. Excuse me, give me a moment. Hari Om. Yeah. So this is Vyasa is what Krishna is saying. And among the poetic seers, I'm Ushana. Ushana's Kavi is another great one. Probably we can search and find out about him. Dando Damayatam Asmi, Nitirasmi, Jigishatam, Maunam Chaivasmi Guhyanam, Jnanam, Jnanam Jnanavatamaham. I am the mastery of the ruler and the power of the tamer. I am the winning strategy of the invincible conqueror. So Krishna says, I am the mastery of the ruler and the power of the tamer. Sometimes the ruler is requiring a mastery to remain in power, isn't it? It's very rare that somebody remains in power without some very extra suprahuman strength, because so many forces are always at play. And nowadays we can say forces of anarchy are actually very active. So to still counter all of them and still continue, it requires a mastery. And Krishna is saying that mastery is found in such great ones. And power of the tamer. Somebody has to find the strength also to tame. Tame what? Tame rebellions, tame forces also. In our life also, if you see, forces are at play. Forces are at play at all times, at every moment, if we become conscious. A simple meeting you decide, informal meeting also, you decide among friends. Watch how forces play right from the very concept of the meeting to take place or not. Basically, why do we need to meet? Nothing is going to happen. One person will tell at the end when you have decided that this is the topic we are going to discuss. Then somehow you tame all of those forces and then finally bring it back into track and meeting takes place. You start with an agenda. The agenda is something else. Rest of the meeting outcome is sometimes very opposite. Depends on the forces. If you have conducive forces, I have seen some meetings go very beautifully as well, where everybody was receptive, everybody was conscious, and it's normally people hang out when people say let's hang out. Generally, what I knew about my friends and everything was they lose their consciousness, so I would avoid hanging out. But when I went as part of Trust's work in Gujarat, and I was told that now we will go and meet friends, I had no option but to agree. But one thing I was happy, chalo, it's a dry state, so I don't think I need to worry too much. But it was so interesting. But I thought nothing higher, no higher talk may come, because the first thing they told, we'll have a discussion. I said it's fine. Before discussion, let's eat dhokla, and a plate of dhokla and spicy food is there. And then somebody comes and gives a mic and starts speaking on Gita. I was very surprised. You're keeping the food here, you're asking me to talk, and I really had zero expectations from that meeting. But the meeting went so well because people from different disciplines were actually sharing, and it was a great conscious moment of thoughts. And this was something they kept doing regularly. So then the person who conducted the meeting, who had organized it, all credit and marks to that person, because he's able to tame the forces of everybody and direct them in a particular direction. So that is also a skill, and that also Krishna is saying that is also one more place where you can see my presence. The will of the divine manifesting, not because of human beings, in spite of human beings. That so many situations we see. It's like God wants something to manifest. The hurdles are human beings only, not letting that manifestation take place. And yet, it's like through a crack of cement, it restarts growing. Has anybody seen that? It's something of that sort. Let us continue. I am the secret of silent things that are unknown. I am the knowledge of the knower who then becomes known. So Krishna says, I am also in the silence. Maunam, it is said Maunam Sarvartha Sadhanam. Sometimes in silence, a lot can be understood. Great dialogues can be spoken in silence. Without speaking a single word, people can understand each other. I think that's the ideal, isn't it? If you can understand somebody without having to speak words. How can that happen? That is when the hearts connect. That is one experience which is worth having completely. And it is in silence. If you see, spies, how do they work? They work in silence only, isn't it? They have mastery in that. Quietly work goes on. Sometimes they may be doing some acting, they may be talking out loud, and like we talked about the raw agents. We don't know, they might be in our class also. Because that is how they are in this Gupta. They are always in secret, in silence. And a lot of things happen in silence. You have to become quiet, then you can hear. Quiet in the sense not just verbally quiet, quiet with the thought, quiet with the mind, then you will receive, you'll be receptive. You'll be receptive of links which are beyond you. So that is one thing Krishna says. And I am the knowledge of the knower. Somebody who understands. He's getting the knowledge from some source, isn't it? The computer is having so much information because of, say, what? Again, a connection with something else. Internet is there, so you're getting a connection from there. So this Wi-Fi password is there. So somebody who is getting that knowledge also, you can recognize that, chalo, theek hai. That is got from some source. You recognize that. That is sufficient. Is what Krishna says. I am the knowledge of the knower, who then becomes known. Giri became Totakacharya, and Totakacharya became known as the Mathadipati afterwards. Where did this come from? It came from the divine, from the Guru Krupa, from the Isha Krupa. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete girim. But that knowledge. Ah, yeah, see, Dr. Vidisha ji has shared one more Manachi shloka. Manare, 1 second, it has disappeared. I just click on it. Yeah. Manare jani mauna mudra dharavi. तथा धरे राघवाची करावी. So you do the stuti of Raghava. Go into Mauna. Absolutely, quietly, because just today somebody asked me, what about Sri Rama? He did like this. What do you have to say? Yeah, I have nothing to say about Sri Rama. I respect him, whether he is like this or like that, it is up to you. I say, you don't worship if you don't feel something about him. Because if you are in quiet, these doubts, questions also, which are on the superficial aspect, they disappear. You will begin to understand the higher truth. That is important, and that is something, and that is another beautiful reference that Dr. Vedisha ji shared. Krishna goes on. I think we have so much shlokas. Can we complete it today? Yes. So this adhyaya will be complete. Yacchapi sarva bhutanam bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Oh Arjuna, whatever be the existence and life form, I am the seed from which they all sprouted from. Nothing motile or immotile, animate or inanimate can be, as their existence is impossible without me. So I am the bija. Bija for what? For every living being. That is why we have similarities, isn't it? In so many living beings, so many life stories, and so many people, so many ways people think. Sometimes inspiration also two people get at the same time who are sitting in different places, they get a similar inspiration. The question comes, who copied whom? And nobody copied each other. It came from that source, they connected. And it is very much possible that because that is the one link, that link is consciousness, that link is Chetana, that is what we have to connect also with. Because when we connected, our life will get transformed. It is all that matters actually. Transforming our life matters the most, isn't it? First and foremost, bring a transformation in your life. All connected with you will experience, isn't it? When the lotus blossoms, does the lotus have to give invitation? You are cordially invited to my blossoming, oh Brahmar. No, the lotus has blossomed. Brahmar will get the direct sugandha and will be pulled there. Something like that. Our inner lotus must blossom, is what Krishna is saying. Recognize that the seed is one. If the seed is one, don't we all have a very good seed then? A very auspicious seed from which we have come into existence. Let us connect with that. Krishna is saying all life forms, and nothing is possible without my existence or without my support, is what Krishna is saying. Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa eshatad deshatah prokto vibhutir vistaro maya. My manifestations are transcendental and innumerable. O Arjuna, my divine representations are immeasurable. For what I have spoken is nothing but a brief summary, a glimpse of what truth's light is indicatory. So Krishna says, "Ji, I've just given you a trailer. Picture to bada hai. Dekh nahi paoge," he says. It is a very big one, so many manifestations. But he says, if I have given you a brief summary, which is a glimpse, which is indicatory of the higher truth. There's a Hindi phrase, isn't it? समझदार लोग इशारों से ही समझ जाते हैं. They don't need the full part. They get the hint, and from the hint they understand. It is something like that, Arjuna. You better understand it. He goes on further. Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrir yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimad urjitam eva va tat tat devavagachatvam mama tejonsha sambhavam. All creatures that are beautiful and splendorous, and all things that are brilliant, powerful, and glorious. I am the source from which their energies came to be. Know them to be an infinitesimal fraction of me. Krishna says, recognize all these to be just an infinitesimal fraction of my existence. All creatures, all brilliant ones, all creatures great, all small, all wise, all wonderful, everything. They've all just come from a fraction of my existence. And what fraction it is? It is an infinitesimal fraction. Anybody has come across this word, especially in physics? People must have learned this in school. Infinitesimal. Anybody from the engineering field or physics field? This. What is the meaning of an infinitesimal fraction? Yes,
1 by infinity.
1 by infinity. So infinitely small fraction, isn't it? If we want to equate it in mathematical terms, how many zeros will you put?
Yeah, infinite.
0.00000 and 1. So it's as insignificant as that, isn't it? It's almost as equal to nothing. It is something like, I think you are talking about a small quantum of my energy which is powering all these vibhutis, because my full consciousness and existence is much higher. And that's what Krishna is telling him. Athava, he goes on, Athava bahunaitena kim jnatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekanshena sthito jagat. But oh Arjuna, what is the need? What is the need for you to understand in detail all my divine forms that manifest on the mortal land? Take it from me. I am both here and everywhere, and the entire universe within a fraction of myself I bear. Krishna says first, he says, oh Arjuna, what is the need for you to understand? What is the basic need? But you're also going to be like Darwin, make a classification of Krishna's various vibhutis, or like how we can say Linnaeus, he had made no kingdom, phylum, family, plant, order, genus, species, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, vibhutis like this, vibhutis like that. If anybody tries also, what will happen? It will be a vain effort, isn't it? So many vibhutis are there, so many which are not possible to be understood only because of limitation of the mind, limitation of the human mind. Because we all understand up to what? 3 dimension, isn't it? Do we know the 4th dimension? Anybody? Are we aware of what is the 4th dimension?
Time.
And what will happen if you suddenly imagine you get an understanding of 4th dimension? It will break our full visual perception of the universe only, isn't it? Like from 1 dimensional to 2 dimensional, it makes a lot of difference. 2 dimensional, 3 dimension, it makes a difference. Like that, third to fourth. And who knows how many more dimensions are there beyond our dimensions which we understand. Krishna says, no, Arjuna, Arjuna, why do you need all of this? Just understand. Get a simple example. He says, I'm here also, I'm everywhere, and the entire Srushti, entire universe is held within a fraction of his existence. He is Sarvavyapi also, and yet he is Sukshma also. That is what Krishna is saying. So if we were to draw an inference from all of this, so many vibhutis are there. We'll not be able to identify all those vibhutis, isn't it? Somebody will say, no, no, I can memorize because my memory power is good. I know so many names of Krishna, so I'll meditate on all of them. Brilliant. How many names? Somebody will say, I know 16. So, chalo, Vishnu Shodasha Nama. Somebody will say, I do Sahasra Nama Japa, I chant perfectly, I chant perfectly and remember also perfectly. What happens to after Sahasra then? So many are there. So Krishna is saying instead recognize my presence. I'm here also, I'm everywhere also. The entire Srishti is connected. So remember, and if you can remember, then you chant all their names consciously. It will make a difference. If you see even in the Shodasha Nama, Aushadhe Chintaye Vishnum, Bhojane Cha Janardhanam, Shayane Padmanabham Cha. At all different times, you are taking medicine, remember Vishnu. Vishnu's consciousness will work. It will work, make the medical potency also sometimes 10x more powerful also if you are suddenly conscious of the divine. Doctors have talked about it also, like they done placebo studies as well. Some medications versus sometimes no medication also, and still these no medications also work because the patient feels, yeah, I'm receiving a medication. So something like that at different times. Shayane Padmanabham cha. When you're relaxing and resting, go into Padmanabha's pose, enjoy and sleep very comfortably. Go into that yoga nidra, experience it. Yuddhe Chakradharam Devam, Sankate Madhusudanam. In difficult times, focus on Sri Madhusudana. My life's difficult moment, I got my Guruji Sri Madhusudan Damleji. So it's very easy for me to remember Krishna there. Something like that at all moments. Vivahe cha Prajapatim. Sridharam Priya Sangame. With your beloved, remember him as Sridhara. For marriage, remember him as Prajapati. So each of these names, if you become conscious, that becomes a kind of our sopana. Hari Om. Yes, internet has been restored. Yes, so with this, we conclude today's session. Can someone recollect anything that we saw? We form the link and then we conclude with the Shanti mantra. Yes. Anybody?
He continued saying how he is best of best things, like Krishna in Vrishnis, Arjuna in Pandavas, etc., etc. Beautifully.
Any specifically which you felt was more take home, we call, no, take home point or something like that. Which one you felt
Sir,
was
Arjuna in Pandavas.
Arjuna and Pandavas was closest for you? All right, ji. Yes, Kalpana ji is saying something.
I like that Adi, Madhya, and Anta.
Adi
Everything
Madhyan.
is.
All right. How will you means why is it favorite Kalpana ji? If you would like to add any
Because
particular reason.
we keep worrying about future constantly.
Right.
So he is there.
Yeah, he
He
is
is
going
there
to
with you
guide.
now. He is
Yes,
there with you now. He will be there for you for that time also.
there's no worry, isn't it?
So
Keep
yeah.
calculations, unnecessary do calculations about what you don't know. Why do that when you are conscious of his presence? All right, Kalpana ji. Any other point? Will yes,
And the
anybody?
knowledge of spiritual science is higher than all other philosophies, arts, and sciences. So,
Ji,
like, however, how much ever knowledge you have, Krishna is above all of it. So it's like
ji. Yes,
this
Dr.
presence of
Vidisha ji, you are
Krishna.
yes, Dr. Vidisha ji, you are from which specialization?
I'm from pharmacology.
Pharmacology. Okay, my mother is from pathology. So she also feels As a pathologist, she feels Krishna only should help or divine is helping, and slides diagnosis happens. She says, I used to read so much. She says, I used to read so much, and now I have read all of it. Now I'm relying on divine to help me. The younger students have new technologies. They quickly keep showing new things. They say, this is a slide. She says, no, I get help. I get help to this. This is cancerous. This is like this. She says, I'm able to tell that. So Adhyatma Vidya, this is her favorite shloka also actually, what you have shared. So yes, thank you,
Thank
Dr. Vidishaji. Yes, yeah. Hari Om. Yes. Anybody else? Any other shloka? Or we'll conclude then. My favorite is that Dyutam Chalayata Matsmi because I was very easily taken for a ride. My friends used to fool me a lot. They were like, no, now nobody is going to fool. I'm going to play what we can say a reverse, something like that. Yes, Kalpana ji, you were saying something.
Yes, I am the seed. That is what he has said. That is, I am the beach of everything. Now, when you talking about this shlok, which is Dyutam. Now, if I am in Shakuni as well as I am in Pandavas,
Yeah,
so
I am in Shakuni as well as I am in Krishna because Pandavas were lost. They lost the Dyuta. They did not manifest Krishna's consciousness. If they had
yes,
manifested, they all, you see, Kali took over them also. Kali took over Shakuni also for the lower purpose already. But here in Yudhishthira's case, and he also was taken over by Kali, isn't it? So he did not understand the rules of Dyuta at all. So he got taken for a ride. And Shakuni understood it, so he used it for a wrong purpose. Means in the bija is there, the consciousness is there, but that Chaitanya is distorted in the Asura. The distortion of that takes place, and the distortion has to be countered by Krishna. So in Mahabharata, if you want to see in Dyutam, Chalayata Masmi, where Krishna perfectly taught Shakuni also that you don't know anything, don't try to. It's like don't try to teach your own father this something like that. Shakuni's got experience because the divine cannot be fooled. The divine is something who is beyond that. Because many people use intellect and mind trying to twist things. They twist the scriptures, they try to twist interpretations, but they fall flat. So we means if you see what is the practical takeaway from that for all of us is that we cannot become naive just because we cannot become naive or gullible. We have to connect with that higher consciousness. Ki, chalo, I can understand why this person is talking to me like this. Because we are naive, what happens? Somebody comes and says, oh, you're so wonderful. I'm like, thank you so much. We immediately, that person has understood your weakness. He's understood your attachment. So he's playing a gamble with that. He's using that only as the bait. And you are falling because you have not understood that the divine is there. Divine will give you another way to counter that person also. Because many times in life, you have to understand, because this is one aspect where many times sadhaks, because of their good nature, they are manipulated. Because of their good nature, they are taken for a ride. Because of their good nature, they suffer. But sadhaks should not suffer, isn't it? Sadhaks have to be conscious. So they must understand, like I think Manisha ji properly said that. Shatam pratishatyam, shatam shakya samachare. Give them the language that they talk. Means you see, even in our, if you see, what were the terrorists doing in these bordering states? They would infiltrate already regularly, and then they would take cover, isn't it? They would take cover of civilians. And the main aspect was in our strategy only is what we were not able to, we were only in a defensive mode all the time, isn't it? Then there was a change in the policy of the army only, probably directed by their intelligence, by their higher ups. They said, let's now go into offensive defense. So now nobody will dare to attack. First step, we will take one more step. Like your security guard, if you are asking a security guard only to shield, and people, when they throw stones at you at your apartment, what's going to happen? Loss will be only on the security guard side, no? But instead you give he's authorized. No, if anybody is coming, go with your lot. Don't allow them to come again. Then it will be like something like that. So in our lives also, just because I am following Satya Marga, just because I have a great samatha, just because I have a great tolerance, I cannot be taken for a ride. It is my duty to connect with the higher consciousness, and Krishna will tell you. This is the experience. This is the experience of so many people. Personally, also, because I was very known to be very gullible all the time. Anybody can fool me. My friend had already written about me that only. He said, this person can fool, tell him any story, he will believe what you have said. But then my teacher told me this is something which will allow you, because otherwise, one friend of mine, she had told the world will crush you, people will stab you in your back, and you will suffer. That was the prediction she had given about my life story. A good friend of mine, of course, and with good intention, she had made that prediction. But it did not happen, isn't it? Because my guru taught me that, ki, chalo, I cannot, because I am tolerant. Can I become a punching bag? No. I'll have to find out. And when you identify the attachment of a person, no, you already have the cards of that person into your hand. So somebody who is manipulating you, you can easily counter that. At least our job is not to manipulate anybody. We cannot walk away from the Satya Marga because it will not give us peace of mind at all. But when somebody goes against that language which the person understands, that should be known. And for that, if you have the, Divya Ashirvad or the Divya backing, it will happen very remarkably. You don't have to do anything. Truth can also be very powerful, isn't it? To somebody who is in falsehood. You don't have to add extra force or extra harsh words. Just a quiet. Why do they call it truth bomb, no? What is the meaning of truth bomb? Because it is so powerful. My mother also, Damliji actually gave her a small gun, which is a Diwali gun. Because you are so quiet, you're so senior, and people are taking you for a ride. Don't throw a bomb, but at least this Diwali ka chota sa tikli, they say, no, that small crackers. So use that, make that noise sometimes, because we'll see later on in the three gunas, there is something called gunatit state also. So we have to become ready to not be taken for a ride. That is all the entire purport of Krishna saying that. Arjuna got fooled, no? The entire Pandavas got fooled. Why did they go for the exile in the first place? If Krishna was there, so many things would have been avoided. But no, we stand by our words. Stand by the spirit of your words. Understand sometimes your best of us also make mistake in our words. Be man enough or be ready to say sorry and take back your word for the higher truth. That is important. Otherwise, no principles will remain. If everybody go away from the path, there's chaos, anarchy. Did it answer the question, Kalpana ji?
Yes.
All right, ji, fine. So then let us conclude with the Shanti mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyat dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishna Vande Jagat Guru. Jai Shri Krishna. Any queries, you're welcome, or we'll conclude. Yes, please. Anybody? Hari Om. Namaskar.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om ji. Namaste.
Ayom.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste.